In this video, we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing rational expressions. In order to do this, there's an extra S, isn't there? In order to do this, you're going to need to feel comfortable with multiplying and dividing fractions. So before we move on, I just want to make sure everybody remembers multiplying fractions is the easiest of all the fraction operations. You go straight across numerators and then straight across for the denominators. When you are dividing fractions, remember, dividing, it's not even real. It's just the inverse of multiplying. It's how you would get rid of multiplying. So we're just going to do the opposite of our multiplying. We're going to take this and say, I'm not dividing. I'm actually just multiplying by the inverse. So I'm going to hop that C over D upside down. That's my reciprocal or my refliprocal. Then I just follow my rules for multiplying straight across. So dividing is just multiplying by the reciprocal. So these problems will be, as you can see, a big ol' mess. And what I want you to do before you start multiplying, because I do not want to multiply this trinomial with this trinomial and end up with something enormous, I would like to see if anything's going to cancel first before I start multiplying. So let's factor what we're given, okay? This first one, I need two numbers that multiply to -6 but add up to +1, and you know what? I know what those are. And on my other numerators, I'm just moving across, not sure why, I need two numbers that multiply to +6 and add up to +5. Those are actually going to be really similar. Now, on the bottom, x squared minus 4, you could think of as x squared plus 0x minus 4. And then you need two numbers that multiply to -4 and add up to 0. Or you can also think about this as being the difference of two perfect squares. And we know the rule for that. It's a plus b times a minus b. So this is going to be an x plus 2 times x minus 2. Or you could say 2 times -2 multiplies to -4 and adds up to 0. Over here, I need two numbers that multiply to 7 and add up to 8. Sounds like that's going to be a 7 and a 1. And now, before I do any multiplying, let's cancel anything I can. So I can cancel these guys, and I can cancel these guys, and life looks so much nicer. Because multiplying a fraction, right, it's going to be the top times the top and the bottom times the bottom. So really, this is like one big fraction. And I can cancel this guy with this guy. It's not a problem. Now what's left? I'm going to be lazy and say this is x plus 3 squared. I'm not even going to FOIL that guy back out. And then the bottom, I didn't, nothing canceled. It's the same thing. So I can steal from above that it was this if I want. Or, to be honest, a lot of your professors would probably prefer you just leave it factored. And there you go. Still a mess, but slightly less. So what happens when we've got a big old mess, but we're dividing? Still start with factoring. Can't recommend it enough. So I have some similar ones because I was nice to me and you, I suppose. I need two numbers that multiply to -6 but add up to +1. Got x plus 3 and x minus 2. On the bottom, this is again an a squared minus b squared. So I can write this as x plus 4 times x minus 4. And then I'm dividing by, over here I've got my two numbers that multiply to 6 and add up to 5. And down here, two numbers that multiply to -8 but add up to +2. Sounds like that's going to be x plus 4 with x minus 2. Now, because we're dividing, don't cancel anything right now. Conceivably, you could cancel something that's inside its own fraction. Like you could cancel something over here. But in general, please don't cancel until we get everything set up into multiplying. Because then the top is always the top and the bottom's always the bottom. So dividing becomes multiplying by the reciprocal, the refliprocal, and so we've got that first fraction stays the same. That's what we're starting with. And instead of dividing by something, we're going to turn this into multiplying by something, and we're going to flip. Now my top and my top and my bottom go together. I missed a parentheses. And now I can look at canceling. So x plus 4s are gone. X plus 3s are gone. And that's all I can cancel. I've got, another squared. X minus 2 squared on the top because there's 2 of them. I'm going to leave this factored to x minus 4 times x plus 2. But depending on what your teacher's looking for, you could always FOIL that back out. All right, we're going to practice it one more time just to make sure we've got a good handle on it. Let's go. Here's the thing. Looking at this before I even get started, I am scared of this. I don't like having my A value be negative just because it will get me tripped up later when I am doing other things. So I am going to take that negative out right now. So I'm going to turn this whole trinomial into -1 times whatever's left. So negative x squared divided by -1 becomes x squared. This guy becomes -2x, and this becomes -24. And I just can't lose that -1, and everything should be fine. Listen, do you have to do that? Absolutely not. I just find it easier for myself. So I need 2 numbers that multiply to -12 and add up to +4. That sounds like it's going to be x plus 6 and x minus 2. On the bottom, 2 numbers that multiply to -18 but add up to -3. Sounds like x minus 6 and an x plus 3. Over here, I've got, don't lose my -1, 2 numbers that multiply to -24 but add up to -2. Sounds like an x minus 6 times x plus 4. And on the bottom, 2 numbers that multiply to -8 and add up to +2. Sounds like x plus 4 and x minus 2. Before I start canceling, don't forget, check if we're multiplying. We are. It's okay. So the tops and the bottoms all go together. It's just one big fraction. Now I can cancel my x plus 4 and my x plus 4, my x minus 2 and my x minus 2, my x minus 6 and my x minus 6. And my God, I've lost so much. It went all the way down to x plus 6 over x plus 3. But can you tell right now what I missed? Don't forget about that -1. You can just put it out here like that, or you can put it out here like that, or you can FOIL it in, however you like it. Distribute it in.